In the United States, most homes are built from wood and drywall, materials that can't even outlast a good storm, let alone a century. Meanwhile, across Europe and Asia, sturdy brick and concrete houses survive for hundreds of years. Every year, billions in damage and countless memories are erased when entire American neighborhoods are flattened by tornadoes or fires, sometimes in a single afternoon. Why would one of the richest countries keep building houses that crumble so easily, while others build for generations? The story behind why American houses are so fragile begins nearly 2 centuries ago, with a radical construction gamble that changed everything, if you know where to look. If you're looking for one quick thing to blame, you can look toward George Washington Snow in 1832. The civil engineer was tasked with building a warehouse in Chicago, fast, cheap, and with whatever the frontier had on hand. Snow skipped the traditional heavy timber beams and instead used 2x4s, nailing them into hollow walls that could stretch several stories high. This new method, called balloon framing, was a revelation. It let ordinary workers assemble walls with nothing but a hammer, a saw, and a pile of nails. No master carpenters, no hand-cut joints, no weeks spent shaping beams, just measure, cut, and nail. Chicago's endless forests meant there was no shortage of tall, straight lumber. Timber companies could churn out uniform boards by the trainload. Suddenly, you didn't need to wait for a team of specialists. Anyone with basic skills could put up a house or a warehouse in days instead of months. Labor costs dropped, and the speed of construction exploded. As railroad lines pushed west and towns sprang up overnight, balloon framing spread like wildfire. By the late 1800s, it was the go-to system for new homes from the Great Lakes to the Great Plains. The promise was simple: build more, build faster, and build cheap. But all that speed and savings came with a catch. The walls were thin, the connections light, and the houses, for all their charm, were never meant to last a century. The American housing revolution had begun, and it was nailed together one 2x4 at a time. A wood-framed house may go up in a matter of days, but the vulnerabilities are baked in from the start. Fire is the most obvious risk. According to building codes, a standard wood frame wall with drywall, technically half-inch type X gypsum board, offers just a 1-hour fire rating. That means in a blaze, the wall can hold out for about 60 minutes before collapsing. By comparison, a solid concrete or brick wall can stand firm for up to 4 hours or more. In places like Paradise, California, whole neighborhoods of wood homes were reduced to ash in a single afternoon, while a handful of fire-resistant houses survived almost untouched. But fire isn't the only problem. Drywall, for all its convenience, is basically paper-faced gypsum. If water sneaks in, a leaky roof, a burst pipe, even just humid air, the paper backing becomes a magnet for mold. Mold spores can spread quickly, and fixing the damage means tearing out entire walls. Pests love wood too. In the Southeast, termites thrive in the warm, damp climate. The USDA maps show that nearly half the country falls into high or moderate termite hazard zones, putting millions of homes at risk for silent, hidden destruction. Wind is another silent enemy. Tim Reinhold, an engineer who's tested thousands of houses for the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety, found that the weakest point in most American homes is the connection between the roof and the walls. In strong winds, roofs can peel away like the lid on a sardine can, leaving the rest of the house exposed. Even moderate storms have sent entire roofs flying in older subdivisions. And as houses age, joints loosen, nails rust, and minor leaks become major headaches. According to HUD, more than 6 million U.S. homes are now rated as structurally inadequate, many suffering from issues that started small and quietly grew worse over decades. The trade-off for speed and savings is a home that's always one step away from a costly repair, a sudden disaster, or a total rebuild. In 1947, William J. Levitt stood on an empty potato field in Long Island and saw the future of American housing. Rows and rows of identical rooftops, each one built faster and cheaper than anyone thought possible. Levitt wasn't just a builder, he was a showman with a blueprint for the post-war era. His plan was simple: break home construction into dozens of specialized steps, put a team on each task, and move the crews from house to house, just like cars on an assembly line. Plumbers followed framers, roofers followed electricians, and by the end of the day, another Cape Cod cottage was ready for its first family. At the peak of production, Levittown churned out 30 houses every single day. The price tag? Just $7,990 per home. Affordable even for a young veteran living on a GI Bill stipend. The secret was relentless standardization. Every wall, window, and shingle was identical, shipped in bulk and installed with practiced speed. Lumber arrived by the trainload. Nails and drywall were stacked in neat piles, ready for the next crew to grab and go. Levitt's crews didn't waste time on flourishes or heavy materials. Wood framing and drywall went up in hours, not weeks. The goal wasn't to create a legacy. It was to solve a crisis. America needed millions of homes, fast, and Levitt delivered. But the thin walls, hollow doors, and lightweight roofs were all part of the bargain. Durability took a back seat to speed and price. For the first time, a house could be built in less time than it took to buy a new car. That was the new American dream: fast, affordable, and just sturdy enough to last until the next move. The story of fragile American houses isn't just about lumber and nails. It's also about how money moves. In the 1930s, federal loan programs like the FHA and VA set strict rules for what counted as an acceptable home. Wood framing ticked all the boxes. It was cheap, fast, and easy to standardize. Developers who followed these guidelines could tap into a flood of government-backed mortgages, meaning they could sell homes to millions of buyers who would never have qualified before. The National Association of Home Builders saw an opportunity and spent the 1980s lobbying to keep wood and drywall at the center of every code book. Their argument was simple: tougher, masonry-friendly codes would price out too many families. Builders stuck with wood because it kept their projects eligible for loans and kept the buyers coming. But the real engine behind America's lightweight houses is how often people move. According to the U.S. Census, the average American will change homes roughly 11 times in their life. Compare that to about 4 times for Europeans. Job market data shows the typical U.S. worker stays at one job for just over 4 years, while in the European Union, it's closer to a decade. This constant churn means homes aren't built as legacies. They're built as stepping stones. Tax incentives and mortgage rules encourage buying, selling, and moving on, not settling in for generations. So when a house is just another stop along the way, durability becomes less important than affordability and speed. The result? A market where builders, banks, and buyers all agree. It's better to build fast and move on than to build forever. Interestingly, America isn't alone in building houses that aren't meant to last. In Japan, the average house stands for just 30 years before it's torn down and replaced, less than the lifespan of a typical mortgage in the US. This cycle isn't just about earthquakes or building codes. It's woven into the culture. Homes depreciate like cars, losing nearly all their value after 2 decades. The result is a staggering churn. Each year, Japan builds almost as many new houses as the United States, despite having only a third of the population. The collective waste is massive. Millions of tons of demolition debris and materials discarded, year after year. It's a system that treats houses as temporary solutions, not family legacies. and it comes with an enormous economic and environmental cost. In parts of the world where every brick counts, families often build their homes in stages, one row of concrete blocks at a time, sometimes over years. The result is a house designed to last for generations, thick-walled and stubborn against storms or heat. Meanwhile, some American engineers are betting on a different future: modular homes. These houses are built in sections at a factory, shipped out, and pieced together on site. To survive the journey, they are framed with up to 10% more wood and use interlocking joints instead of just nails. Prefab architects claim their designs are tougher than the average stick-built house. So the question hangs in the air: will America keep chasing speed and turnover, or is there room for a sturdier dream built to stay put? Today, over 90% of new American homes are built with wood framing and drywall, a method first popularized in 1832 by George Washington Snow. This choice, rooted in cost and speed, has left homes vulnerable. Modern wood walls offer just a 1-hour fire rating compared to 4 hours for masonry. Policies after World War II, such as FFHA and VA loan standards, further locked in these lightweight methods. Despite decades of engineering reports documenting failures during hurricanes, fires, and pest infestations, the core approach remains unchanged. Questions persist about whether future building codes will address these weaknesses or if affordability will continue to drive decisions. Meanwhile, countries like Japan face similar cycles of rapid rebuilding, while others invest in more durable materials. The evidence is clear. America's fragile homes are a result of deliberate trade-offs, choices that continue to shape daily life and risk, even as stronger alternatives are well documented.